I was ready. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for coming for the Economic Development Committee meeting. We are all here according to the roll call. It's me, Ann Huntsinger, and Melanie Long. My bad. And I'm going to try and move ahead through this because I know we have council meeting tonight here in about an hour. But our only discussion is the 254 Main Street. It was brought up by the Downtown Development Authority, wanting some guidance on what we would like to see for this project. So we thought we'd put it back to committee so we could discuss it as a committee before we bring it back to all of council. And I would kind of like Paul to take a second or two, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and talk about kind of the usual way these projects go when it goes to downtown development. If you don't mind, Paul.
Sure, happy to help. So, the idea is that y'all own some property in the downtown core. It's not uncommon for a lot of municipalities or cities to end up owning different pieces of property in a downtown core that then either later aren't used or get underutilized, and you want to sort of revamp your downtown core, and how do you do it? And so if the city is going to sell this property, the city has certain constraints whereby the city is obligated to sell in accordance with Georgia law to essentially the highest bidder, right? It's who's the highest bidder and sell. But your DDA has more flexibility in seeking out things that are the best for downtown revitalization, economic development within the downtown core, and the like. So normally what you see happen in situations similar to what Loganville has with this 254 Main Street project, which I know encompasses, I think, a couple of parcels, but it starts at 254 Main and runs all the way back along the side road there, is that normally the cities will enter into an IGA with their Downtown Development Authority, whereby the Downtown Development Authority is tasked with the goal of not only casting the vision for what you want there, but seeking out the best end user, whether that be a developer or an end user of actual the property, or it be that the Downtown Development Authority builds it themselves, which happens in some markets, some circumstances, although that's probably not a viable option here. And then as part of that IGA, basically, the Downtown Development Authority is charged with the responsibility of selling the property to the right user. Doesn't have to be to the highest bidder, but to the right user as determined through a process, whether that be an RFP or listing it, but normally it's an RFP process. And then they come back with that recommendation to sell, and then y'all then ultimately use them as a conduit for the sale of the property to whoever that end user may be or end developer may be. And then the DDA is normally compensated for their efforts with some sort of percentage of the sales price. That's sort of the standard of what you see on these IGAs, is the city holds the dirt, enters into an IGA with the DDA. The DDA then markets the property for sale based upon fulfilling sort of the goals or the desires of the DDA and the city ultimately. And then they retain back a portion of the proceeds at the closing table. Usually that's a 5 or 10% benefit or spin-off to the DDA, and then they use that money for their purposes. And then the remainder of the balance goes into the general fund. So, I mean, that's the basics of how it works, and the whole goal is to allow the DDA more flexibility to be able to sell the property to either a developer or end user that's going to meet certain economic development metrics or revitalization or downtown redevelopment metrics that the city and the DDA ultimately have for the downtown central business district.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul. After watching a few of their meetings, I will admit I didn't watch the last one, but I watched the one before that when they talked extensively about 254 and wanting to only work on the front half of the property, which is in the packet that we have here today, and not worry about the back lot as of right now. So I think us as a committee need to decide, one, if we want to go into an IGA with them, and if we do, what do we want in that IGA? For example, I know from my dealings with the Georgia Downtown, the committee that I go to, The Georgia Downtown Association, they do have specialized guidelines that they usually will use for this, which would be, we had the Sizemore study, which was the high-level overview of the downtown. And then each property, usually you go in and do like a more specified plan for each area that you're going to touch. And I believe they've already explored that avenue. That might not be an avenue that they want to explore anymore, from what I understood from them. They would prefer to put a for sale sign, for better or worse, as they're saying, on the property, just to get someone in there to try and build. And if that's the path we want to go, or do we want to do more of a path that is using, because we already have some studies, and that's what they say is that we have, and we do have studies that we have from 254. I don't know how viable all of them are, but we have some going back. Well, we had the LCI study. We've had a few of them. I know I've seen a few, Danny, that like the concept drawing, I believe it was in Robbie's office at one time. So we could compile a lot of those to give to them, and then they could use that to go out to then use that as a guideline to market to people. Like, this is kind of what city council is looking for when they go and get people to come buy the land. But also, before it comes back, before they can sell the land, they have to come pitch it back to us, so we can then transfer the land over there per the IGA. So then that's when we could condition the land, zone the land, condition the land, do everything we need to do before it goes over to the development authority. So essentially, they're gonna hold it for not very long. It's gonna go from us to them real quickly, for them to sign it over to go to the end user, which would be the person who's building on 254 Main. And I would think a lot of this is the people that's been living and breathing this project for a long time understand we just want possibly a restaurant and some kind of retail, some kind of buildings up front that match the character area of Main Street. It looks like it's been there for 50 to 100 years already, and blends into the urban fabric. And what's kind of y'all's thoughts on it?
Well, that was a lot to digest, but overall, I do believe in keeping it into 3 separate parcels, because I believe if we turn over the parking lot right now, then whoever you buy, who would be interested in buying it, could take control of that parking lot, and we lose valuable parking for other businesses. So I would, if we're talking about an IGA, want to stay to this square right here and not the parking lot.
Well, it could be something in the IGA that they have to have X amount of spots or something.
Right.
And they could still have that area and still be able to do their own parking without the city having to control the lot. Because right now, say the city has to control the lot, the city has to pay for it to get surfaced, we have to pay to keep it clean, we have to do all that upkeep. Versus if somebody else owns it, they would be in charge of that. So are you willing to have the city be on the hook for that parking area long-term? And plus, also that might reduce their scope. Like, say they don't have control over the parking, so they try to get a business to come here, and the business says, well, I'm gonna need more parking than what's here. And they say, well, we can only control what's within our 4 corners. So we cannot promise you what you want to be promised for parking or so forth.
Well, then you're going to have to be very specific, because I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm buying this piece of property and these parking spaces, nobody's parking there but my customers. So you're going to have to be very specific. Either you just sell them that land in part of those parking spaces, or you're going to have some sort of contract beforehand. Because I'm just telling you, if I'm buying this and I'm building a restaurant and a retail store and all that, they just ran into this problem down in Madison. There was a restaurant that's been just using city parking, and now they've put up a sign that nobody can park there than that. Now all the other businesses are suffering because there's no parking space. But I'm just telling you, as a business person, you sell me all of this, that's for my customers only. I'm not sharing That's me. So I think if you're gonna do that, we have to address that right off the bat. So I'm not opposed to giving them these 4 corners of dirt and letting them see where they can go with that. And if we find out that not having the parking lot becomes a deal breaker for them, then we can address that. I mean, when tacos and beers come, where are they gonna park? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, should this sell, I don't want them to have exclusivity to that parking area. I mean, you've got Toasted Up, you have Ember and Ivy. When they had their event, this parking lot was completely full. I just think that we're gonna cause a problem we don't need to cause, and I agree. But if they build a restaurant there, they're as equally entitled to use this parking lot as every other business on Main Street. Because I'm telling you, people aren't gonna park over here by the old City Hall building and come over here, or come over here to Tacos and Beer, or come to Embers and Ivy. They wanna park close by, but if these people decide that that's their parking lot, period, you've created a big problem downtown.
Well, I wanted to put that out there because if we do this and the city was gonna be in charge of this parking lot, we're gonna have money in paving, we're gonna have money in cleaning it, and I'm fine with keeping it a city lot, because I do agree that it needs to be everybody's lot. And I will say, when you go to Monroe and park though, do you park right next to where you're going, or do you park and walk?
We're not Monroe.
Not yet, but we gotta plan ahead here.
We do,
So
but
we need to think like
You do.
people, when you go to a downtown, to experience a downtown, you go to experience the whole thing, not just one restaurant or one place. You want people to walk past all the other stores. You want people to walk by places to be able to see themselves going in there. Say there's a wait somewhere and they know it, they call ahead, they do whatever, they can go other places while they're waiting. So I don't want to
And I agree.
have too much parking at the same time, because I don't want it to look like an airport out here. But at the same point, I understand what you're coming from. I'm listening, and I do agree that, but I just want to know, going forward, if they start to get somebody on the hook here, we're gonna start spending some money on getting this parking lot correct.
Monroe has municipal parking.
They do.
They maintain it. That's what this would be, municipal parking. It's no different than Monroe. So you give this up to that person, and they decide, it's all mine, I'm not sharing. Now the city's looking at a parking garage. What's more expensive, building a parking deck or a parking garage or a parking platform, or maintaining these parking spots?
I agree with you, Mel, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, I'm just saying, so,
I just
I mean,
wanted
well,
you
you're
to
asking me, and
know.
I can't keep saying
I
the
just-
same thing,
yeah,
so I
know,
need
that's why I
Ann to
was
chime
saying I
in.
agree with you, but I just wanted us to be on the page now that.
Okay, I'm fine with that,
We're gonna
yes.
have to
Okay,
spend money as a
gotcha.
city
Okay, and I'm good with that, because
to
honestly.
make this city
Right.
parking.
They can put this up for sale tomorrow, and I would hope that somebody would be interested. I've talked to 2 people that are actually very interested in this lot,
And doing the whole project.
just that lot. They want access to this parking lot, but they don't need it exclusively. So I've talked to 2 people that have ideas, and I have talked to another one that has an idea for the whole thing. But until we see what we're gonna do with the DDA, and that's why I say, look, it's baby steps. Give them these 4 corners. Let's see what they can do. Can they bring people? Can they draw interest? Can they find people? And look, we might have to revisit and say, okay, fine, the deal breaker is the parking lot, and then we discuss that. But if we're just starting out, why don't we just start with giving them those 4 corners of dirt and seeing what they can do? And with the understanding that if it's a deal breaker, we'll go back and we'll talk to you about giving you the parking lot too.
You got any thoughts on this, Ann?
So I think Melanie has valid points, but I wonder if and when the library opens and that parking is available, if this is alleviated somewhat on Main Street by having additional parking. I might consider putting this up like a motivated seller, where we have a couple of options. You know, we are open to selling just the front parcel or open to selling the whole thing, and we'd like to discuss parking as part of that sale. I would be hesitant to spend money and zone anything and try to get anything attached to this piece of property until we know what our buyers are.
Do we know what a plan is?
I just, you know, we may have a buyer that wants to do something we haven't even thought of that's fantastic and that will work for everybody, but I think we put a sign up, we put it up for sale, and, you know, bring all your offers, but bring your ideas on what you see for this property, because, I mean, Melanie, if you've talked to people and you know people that are interested, let's throw it out there. And
Right.
now, I don't know what that means for price, because it's for sale, but it's not for sale for a price, because we don't know what they might want to do with it and how much of it, you know, do we put like one of those, what is it, open to subdivide or subdividable or something if they just want one parcel?
Well, I'll tell you what I've been telling the people,
Okay.
and y'all may get mad, and I may be doing it wrong. The DDA could give that piece of property away if they wanted to. So what I tell them is, you bring me a plan that lights this city on fire, and we're probably not going to, but we could sell you that piece of property for $1. If you bring us a plan that is, like you said, we've never thought of, that lights this city up. So I don't even think that you put it up for sale for a price. I think, like you said, bring me your ideas. Show me what you got, and let's go from there.
Paul, from a legal perspective, how do we put a piece of,
You
know,
don't, the DDA does.
how does somebody put it, how does the DDA put a piece of
They
property
do an
up
RFP. They do
for
an
sale without a price?
Yeah, they do a request for proposal that
Okay.
addresses all of these things. But these are the things that y'all can't do, because all y'all can do is put it for sale with a price on it. Or so y'all are constrained on how you sell it. Y'all can sell it by real estate agent. You can sell it by public auction. You
Right.
can sell it by sealed bid. Y'all have certain structures where y'all can sell it. Y'all can enter into an agreement with the DDA for them to go out and seek proposals, and then ultimately y'all can agree to transfer the property to the DDA, subject to one of those proposals, and then they can sell it in accordance with the terms of that deal. So y'all can't do that, but the DDA can. And
So
the
we
DDA
can tell
would-
the DDA to go fishing. Go fishing, bring us some plans, and then we'll transfer the land.
Yeah, the land really doesn't, just to clarify, that y'all would ultimately approve whatever the deal is.
Right.
The land wouldn't transfer until the closing table. I mean, literally at the closing table, it would transfer from the city to the DDA, from the DDA to the developer or end user. But how do you sort of get the dream or get the vision is you do an RFP. And you develop an RFP that the DDA puts out there seeking the best plan.
I mean, Brandon, what's your ask? Are you asking for us to do an IGA? Are you asking, what are you looking for?
What was brought to my attention from the DDA and from the last council meeting we talked about this, was to take this to committee to have something to bring back up to council to put on the next agenda. So that could be an IGA that we could have Paul go ahead and work on, putting in some of the details that maybe, what do we want to do with this property, and make a recommendation to council. So then we could get the IGA going with the DDA.
I mean, my recommendation would say, let the DDA run with developing an RFP for the property. Let them go find out the ideas that we haven't identified yet, or even ideas that we've already identified, and bring the ideas to us. And then with the hope that we can sell it to a developer that has a great idea that benefits everybody.
So just keep it loose terms, in other words, not put anything specific like parking, anything like that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't want to restrict the creativity of whoever does want to buy the land, because they might come up with an idea that
Right.
no one's ever thought of, and could be, like Melanie says, I'm not really lights a fire on downtown in a good way. And so I'm open with that. I'm good with that. I just wanted to have this conversation so we can move forward with.
Well, I mean, to Melanie's
Discussion.
point, she said she talked to people that don't need the parking. Well, I hate to put out a restrictive RFP
Exactly.
when you can find the perfect person that uses what they need and we still get what we want, rather than going, well, you can buy this parcel, but we have to have this parking and you have to do these 3 things with this property.
Now, do we just want to define it just to this upper area or for the whole project?
The whole thing.
The whole field, everything?
The whole shebang.
Wait a minute, where are you going? You're going from Main Street to Bobby Boss? Or you're going from Main Street to the bottom of the parking?
I said we do the whole project, do the whole,
No, I'm not gonna, I don't,
Why?
Why? Because you have two different, what's the word I'm looking for? The front half lends itself to commercial, the back half is gonna lend itself to residential. And I don't want a commercial guy coming in there and we're gonna put a strip mall down Pecan Street.
But we could tell the
we could tell
DDA
them,
that
no,
we don't want to do that. Like, we have all the control. I mean, what if we got a developer that wanted to do like a, I don't know, a really cute little restaurant on the front and put 4 cottages on the back?
That match the houses across the street.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't want to put a strip mall either. I think that completely
Yeah.
does not do what we want downtown.
Exactly.
But I think we will get better fish if we put the whole thing out there.
To get better bait.
DEA expressed that they wanted to just do the front commercial side because they felt like, at this point in time, trying to do everything was just a bridge too far for them. So we got to keep that. I don't know if we could voice it where they would market the front part but have access to the back part
Right.
with some kind of presentation. They also wanted to know, for example, is the alleyway beside the barbershop, is that part of the piece? Okay, it is. Okay, so we can draw it all the way over there.
And we have 0 lot lines in downtown, if I believe, correct, Paul?
And then they also questioned if the council, what they don't want is they don't want them to work hard, bring a proposal to the council, and the council says, we hate that, we don't want it.
Well, but.
So they want an idea of what we want.
But, like, I mean, I guess I envision a sign on that piece of property that says, the city of Loganville would like to develop this space. You know, we are open to, I mean, the DD, it's not a mystery what the council wants. It's
Yeah, I
not
think
like,
it's simple.
but they're not doing really any work on the RFP quite yet. We're fishing. You know, I think that I understand where they're coming from. I mean, we've been through so much as governing bodies, right? That we don't want them to go down the road and then bring us something and we go, yeah, no. But if they put a sign up there that says, please contact the DDA if you would be interested in submitting a proposal for this property, here's the plat, we would be open to, I mean, it could almost be just a, what we'd love to see document. You know, here are our concerns. We're concerned about parking. We don't want a strip mall. These are the parameters really loose that we're looking for. Bring any and all ideas.
Well, one of the things they said specifically was, are we okay, I know we've talked about it a lot, are we okay with lofts on the second floor, or do we want offices? They just want to know that they're telling whoever it is the right story.
I mean,
I wanna see what somebody can bring.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't wanna tie their hands.
What if
that's
there's
exactly what I
lofts
think.
or apartments?
I mean,
or,
somebody, you know,
offices upstairs,
Well,
yeah,
either way.
I mean, I don't wanna tie their hands.
Would you
I-
want to say the second floor is available for offices and/or lofts, depending on the presentation?
Well, if we're
I
just
think-
doing an
I think
RFP,
that's
I don't
even-
think that's too
the
far
next
down,
step
yeah.
down, yeah.
I
That's
think
not
we're
what
just
asking.
saying, hey, like you said, here's a piece of land, bring us your ideas.
Yeah.
You could, this could be yours.
This could be yours, yep.
Bring us your idea.
Is there anything legally that's a problem with that, Paul?
Not if the DDA's doing it.
Yeah, the DDA. puts
That's
a
what I'm
sign.
saying, I mean,
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
but then, okay, sure, fine, so the guy goes, well, or the lady just says, I'm only interested in this, or like you said, there may be somebody that has a plan for the whole thing, somebody just a plan for this, so I don't wanna tie their hands, I really would like to see what somebody exciting could bring.
the
So
whole
Brandon,
property.
out of this committee meeting, could we say that we would love to see ideas around restaurants, retail, lofts above retail, small
even-
residential?
I would say small residential and something that blends into the urban fabric up top on the Main Street side. Looks like it blends in, looks like it's been there for a while.
Wait, do
And
we
it could
want urban
be-
fabric or small town fabric?
well, small town. Urban fabric's just a term that we use
Yeah,
to
but it
blend
scares
with the
people.
It
street.
just means different, I think, I mean, urban, I'm thinking glass.
Okay,
and-
but it blends into the small town
Yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah,
that
there
we
you go.
have. There we go, instead of saying urban fabric.
So why don't you write, like, Brandon, I mean, we've all talked about this
Yeah,
enough.
just write it up.
I mean, you should be able to write like a paragraph about what we would be open to. Like, we would love to see ideas around, it's kind of like when you get somebody that's going to put a mural in your house and you're like, well, I like animals and greenery and I don't like big city buildings. Bring me an idea for a mural. I mean, that's kind of what
Yeah.
we're doing. Could you put something
Yeah,
together
I
that we
put
could give the
something
DDA?
together. I could put something together, maybe a couple paragraphs or
Yeah.
something, send it out to the committee members, take a look at, and then we could bring it up at the next council meeting. And we could go ahead and have Paul kind of writing a simple LGA, IGA, so we can add that to the IGA at that meeting, so they can go ahead and get going on it by the,
I mean, why don't we talk about it tonight and just say, you know, we met as a committee
well, we
and,
can, I just don't know if I can.
no, that you're going to write a
something up.
paragraph or
Yeah.
two.
I could probably do that.
And
between
that
if
maybe
get out here
Thursday
soon
we could
enough.
vote to do an IGA?
Yeah, we can get it done by Thursday, I believe, definitely.
I mean, what do you think, Melanie? Just giving him a direction to start writing the IG,
Right.
not to sign it.
So I can talk
Right.
about it tonight. We'll have something on Thursday to go to vote on to move forward with the IGA, with the DDA. And I'll
Just
tell
to give
I'm
them some
working
loose
on a
direction.
paragraph
Yeah,
about our loose guidelines about what we would like to see there.
Yeah.
That gives the DDA some direction.
right.
So.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's no big deal to put together the IGA for you guys. The IGA will just, two things go into your sort of concerns and comments is, I would leave it all very loose on the RFP. It's y'all's decision and direction on what you want to do in terms of all the property or some of the property. The suggestion, I think you will cast a wider net if you put all the property out there, but you don't have to do all the property. You can always claw back, say, we don't like this idea, we don't like that idea. So the two documents that have to be developed, one is an IGA. Our office can do that, no problem, and put it together so that y'all can approve it. Y'all can say we want to do it, but we'll approve the document at the December meeting. And then the DDA has to develop the RFP. And that's the document that comes off of whatever your vision cast is, your 1 or 2 paragraph vision cast, but then digs into the specifics of what it's asking the developers to submit, both in terms of the document that they submit, you know, the scope of what their presentation is, as well as sort of the goals, right? Sort of the overall goals. And when you create your RFP, that's when you look back to the studies that you have, right?
Right.
So if you have, I know you have the Sizemore study. I'm not familiar with the other studies, but the other studies you have, you link them all in a catalog, you put them out in the RFP, and they say, here's some of the dreaming that the city and the DDA have done in years past about downtown and about this property. We want you to give us your best foot forward on what you would propose. And that proposal will include pricing. It will include them providing you with economic development incentives that they're seeking, if they are, you know, all those sort of things, and end users and those sort of things. So you need an IGA and you need an RFP, or let me rephrase that. You need an IGA, the DDA needs an IGA and an RFP. And staff will probably have to help them with that RFP, and I'm happy to help staff sort of get that ball rolling because there's plenty of examples out there that we can glean from and use. But we can get this all started for you with an IGA that sets up the structure. The one thing I'd want y'all to have and, you know, be able to give us direction on is what's that sort of, you know, profit share component. It's the best word I use for it, but sort of profit split. Is it a 90-10? Is it a 95-5?
There's usually 5 to 10%. I'd be fine with the 10%, so that could set them up to do more projects in downtown later on without having to come back to the city
Microphone.
to get
It needs
more.
it needs to be higher, but I
Microphone.
believe
Oh,
our
I'm sorry.
paperwork shows at this point in time, 3%. Just so you're
Well,
aware.
you don't have any paperwork with the DDA at this point.
The
Well, we
ODA
have
was
the
probably
ODA, I guess, so it
3%.
would be different, yeah.
So I'm fine with 5 to 10%. I know usually I'll be fine with the 10%, to be honest, because that just refills their coffers to be able to do more stuff in downtown
Okay.
without having to come back and ask for the council.
Well, and that's what Danny's asking, that's what we got to clear to it, is what dirt are we subjecting to the IGA for them to go out and market? Is it what I call the front track, which is generally the commercial track that shows about half an
Say all the
acre?
way down.
Or is it including the other track that's about 1 acre that basically takes you all the way from Main Street down to Bobby Boss? And so it's what dirt are we subjecting to the IGA? What's the sales percentage split? And then what's the 1 to 2 paragraph sort of vision casting statement of what they need to accomplish in the RFP?
What's the going rate? Is it normal like a real estate commission, like 6%
It's
or
usually what you see is 5 to 10%.
5 to 10? So,
You definitely see more and you definitely see less, but that's kind of what you see a lot.
and do they fund all of the RFPs and all of the, do they fund, it's like a realtor selling a house. Do they do all of the, or do we do that?
It's complicated.
You got to look to the guy to your left because
But
he's
generally
doing
what you
funny
see is
faces.
that, this is the way that I'll best say it.
Okay.
Generally what you see is your most successful DDAs have an extremely close symbiotic working relationship with your city staff and have DDA staff sort of sitting 2 doors down or 3 doors down in the same hallway, and there's a lot of budget sharing going on.
So I wasn't sure if the commission needed to cover like building the sign, doing the, like a real estate commission
Yeah.
would cover the photographs
Sure,
and
I
all
mean,
that.
normally you'll see a lot of that come out of your DDA budgets,
Okay,
yes. But you also
And
have a lot
recoup it
of
when
city
they
staff
sell.
working with the DDA to put it
Sure.
all together.
sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the oddball, so when we say what dirt, I would really wanna stick to this, but say that you have the option all the way back, depending on your idea. And I mean, that's just the way
I'm
I
fine
feel
with
about
that.
that.
Like an addendum. This is our main.
Yes, but if you have an idea that requires that you need this land, we're willing
So
to
our
work with you.
priority for development is the front portion,
Mm-hmm.
but based on your idea, we are open to
To-
developing
to-
the whole piece.
correct.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with
Okay.
that.
I think that's fine.
We'll have a different land use.
Well,
Right, it could-
the
well,
city
it does
owns it
now,
all,
so
so we
it would.
could,
I'm saying you want a different land use first.
Yeah, because we don't want to tie, because like I said, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
We'll write
don't
it
want
down.
somebody putting all their eggs in a commercial piece of property thinking they can go all the way to Bobby Boss. That's why I really want to keep it
Yeah, I
separated.
mean, we don't want a sideways strip mall
No,
Yeah.
I
I get
don't,
you.
yeah.
and a liquor
So what
store,
we'll do
a vape
is-
shop.
This
And a
parcel-
tattoo parlor and all the
Chicken place,
things, yeah.
Sorry, Danny, what?
So this will have its own parcel number, like it does now, and then addendum A will be parcel number B, which is, it has its own parcel number too. That way they'll know.
Okay.
We could also say something like priority will be given developers with the most creative on the front parcel, but we are happy to review the whole thing. So do you paragraph then how much percentage? 6
What, money
for the
to
LDA?
give them? I mean, I know you probably want to put a specific number, but also like if they have to sell this really cheap to get the right person, I would like them to get a little more money. I don't know, can we do I don't know. Or you just want to set a,
I'd say set a set.
all right,
A
then that's
second.
fine.
What do you
I would
think?
just say it's at 10%.
What'd you say?
I would say 10% on this project.
10%?
Because it's not gonna be a huge money-making one, most likely. Now, we could adjust that later on, since it's not in the bylaws for the DDA, it will be fully contingent on what we write in the IGA. Say, we do this again on another property that might draw in more money, then we could adjust that rate.
Do we
at
have any
that
kind of
point.
appraisal on this property?
We had one, it's been a few years, hasn't it, Danny? We never got one?
And then not the last 5 or 6 years we haven't.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
We haven't had one in 5-6 years, according to
Can we
Danny.
talk about that one or no? I mean, is it
I
under?
don't really think it's necessary if they're the ones doing all the work. It's not like, we're doing what's best for the city when we go through them, not the
I'm trying
highest
to get an
price.
idea what a 10% commission would be. Is it 80 grand? Is it 50 grand?
It depends on what we allow them to build there. The
That's what
more
I'm
they
saying. I
can
mean,
build,
to
the
get-
more
yeah.
valuable the land is.
Well, I guess if, let's say that they got 100,000, let's take $1 million, right? If they got a $100,000 commission, what does the DDA do with that money?
Well, they have their own rules and stuff that they can abide by. They could go out and buy property, they can do a lot, they can use it for marketing, they can put on events. There's a lot within the DDA's purview that they can do with that money. Once they get a bigger budget, the more they can do. For example, the Monroe's DDA bought out that gas station and revitalized it, pulled out the tanks and all, to then be able to go out to get LR Burger. So there's certain areas that they can go in with the downtown overlay where they could do stuff like that if they had the funds. Not saying we, all has to come from us, but it could come from the 10% from this deal plus others. And plus, like I said, it depends on how much is allowed to be built on here is gonna dictate the price. It's just like any other property. If someone could build 80 stories on, on an acre, like in New York City, it's a lot more valuable than building 2 homes on 2
And the
half-acre
money
lots.
for the property, I know we transfer it to the DDA, but does the city get paid on the sale of the property?
Yes, that's what the IGA spells
Okay.
out. So if you do a
Okay.
10% split, 90% of the sales proceeds would end up in the city general fund.
General
And
fund.
the profit, the percent you're talking about is what their split of the,
The 10%.
it's not a commission, it is, but it's a percent of, okay, then I got it. I'm good with that. 10%'s fine with me.
That's fine.
All right, well, I think we got our marching orders and anything
Paul,
else?
if they use a realtor, who would pay that realtor? They're asking a question. I don't know the answer.
Sure. So under this IGA structure, you really wouldn't be looking at a realtor. You would be putting it out as an RFP, and you would be fielding those calls. If you're gonna put it out with a realtor, y'all can do that, right? Y'all can do
Right.
that and sell it to the highest person that brings the most money. But under the transfer to the DDA, for them to seek out the right economic development revitalization partner, then you're most likely not going to be utilizing the services of a traditional realtor.
Okay. The other question I think they were trying to get to was, if the council was selling that property, we would probably have some idea of what it's worth. We need to give them an idea of what it's worth, just for their negotiating time.
I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is having somebody bring projects, and then they will negotiate a
Then we'll
price.
talk about price.
Because
That's fine, but we just need to know what we need to tell them to get them on board.
Yeah, we'll tell them that. Yeah.
That's fine.
So we don't know what it's worth until someone shows us the dream
Yeah,
and
I mean,
the
it might,
project.
yeah, we
and
might
then
be willing to
worth
go a
be-
lot lower to get this guy, because he's gonna have a lot more building in it. But this guy over here that just wants to do this little thing, we might wanna sell it for more.
I think we gotta be careful when we say we. They can.
Well, the DDA,
can.
yes,
right.
yes,
They
the
can,
DDA,
yeah.
So,
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else, I will call this meeting to a close. Any objections?